This episode is brought to you by Hoob. Use the code TalkingTriathlon10 when checking out at hoobdesign.com. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Talking Triathlon podcast where James Bale talks to Tim Ford about the sport of triathlon. My name is Tim, even though I just introduced myself, but just in case people are watching and don't know which one of us is which, the Australian is Tim, the Pom is Bale. Jimbo, I've lost my place already. It's all over the place. It's a wild start. How you going?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. I'm still, I'm less tired than I was last night when we recorded the bonus episode. I feel more energized this evening, which is nice. I'm still rehabbing my hip to a point. I've done 2.5 weeks of hip rehab now to try and get myself back on track for the London Marathon, which is getting very close. And it's all going in the right direction. And I'm running a half marathon on Sunday, but very, very slowly as a sort of hip consolidation recovery run. How are you, mate?
I am going to do a bail. I'm going to do a bail right now. And I'm going to complain about the weather. Because Sydney, I live in Sydney, Australia, for people who are not sure. Sydney has become a tropical climate, basically, where for the last 2 months of my life, it has been so hot and so humid, and I've reached my breaking point, mate. I've actually just reached the point where I hate the cold, man. I hate it. But I have had enough of this hot, humid shit. It is so hard to train for a marathon in this weather because I am so sick of having chafing things because my clothes are wet and weird rashes from having too sweaty clothes and going out to run and just feeling drained all the time. I am just really struggling to train at the moment with that. I'm still doing it, but do you know how like that heat you just feel so flat the second you go?
Yeah. It's like sounds like we're both in a similar place then, up until this week actually for me, because I was in a very similar mindset as you, but the opposite. It hasn't stopped raining here I would say it rained a lot before Christmas, but I would say definitely from the 1st of January till Friday last week, it's pretty much rained every day. And I had a proper dummy spit on Friday. Like I was walking back from my car parking space to where I live with a bag. Everything was getting soaked. I was getting soaked and I just lost my shit. When I got into the house, I was like, fuck this, I cannot live like this. And then luckily, spring seems to have sprung this week. We've had some clear days, bit of weather, no rain so far this week. And then mate, the difference it makes in my mindset. I'm suddenly like wake up in the morning, the sun's coming through the window and I'm like, life's good again. And so yeah, I feel you, but for different reasons.
Well, it might as well be because, like, I'm not joking. Every single, it doesn't matter if I'm going for a hard run, an easy run, a walk, whatever it is, I come back as wet as if I have jumped into the pool fully clothed. Like, I am just the sweatiest man alive when I finish any run at the moment. And yeah, it's just, it's getting better. The running is going well. Like, I'm running well.
I had a conversation with someone last week about how, I joke, but I get quite dark when the weather's bad. Like properly that like winter sadness thing. And so much so I bought myself some happy glasses, which help amplify the light around you and make you feel a little bit better.
He means drugs, people.
With someone last week about how I'd got to this place where I'd actually started to convince myself that the rain was linked to me when I went outside. And that it started to rain more intensely when I was outside, and then it stopped when I went inside. And I started to like really convince myself of this.
Have you read The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Because there is the character who's a weather spirit, and it always rains because he makes. Maybe that's what it is, mate. Maybe you got this cloud.
So I was saying to the person I was talking to, I said I've got a magnetic field of angry energy that draws the rain out of the sky whenever I'm walking somewhere.
Well, again, I don't want the rain because that's the problem there. We have it so hot during the day, and then you have this hour of like torrential tropical rain, and then it clears and it's even more humid. So anyway, people love the weather chat, and I know it gets excited. If you want more weather chat and other things like that, head to patreon.com/talking triathlon, and you get that as well as bonus shows. I tell a 25-minute horror sponsor story on the bonus episode yesterday. So if you want to hear that, that's where you go. I don't name any parties or names or anything, but it's honestly one of the most baffling things that I've ever come across in my professional working life ever. So if you want that chestnut, that's where you have to go. But yeah, that's that. Otherwise, I'm running well, training's going well. I'm doing heaps of Pilates. I've done Pilates like 3 nights this week in the gym. Actually enjoying swimming because I'm only doing it once or twice a week now rather than 4 times, and I'm picking the set. So I'm actually really enjoying swimming, and yeah, things are good. Things are good apart from being too bloody hot. But yeah,
here we are. Another week, another triathlon podcast, mate. There's a lot to talk about.
There is, and there's one huge race to talk about. Well, there's actually 2 huge races to talk about. I think the
2 huge races to talk about. One that's happening very soon.
2.5 big races, because one of them only has a female field as well. So we've got 2 big races, one that's a female-only race. But let's start with Challenge Roth, because Challenge Roth, we spoke about last week with the announcement that Kristian Blummenfelt, Kat Matthews were going to be in that start list. And after that, we then went away and we started to speculate some of the names that we'd love to see appear alongside of them to help push that record forward. And I'm not going to say it wasn't us, James, but I think it was us, because the
it's
triathlon gods...
magnetic field again.
Exactly. They have listened.
Drawing competitors to races. That's
the thing, right? It's what you don't realize is you cop the rain so that the triathlon world gets the good fields. Like, that's the price you have to pay. So everybody who watches these great fields has to thank James Bale and maybe send him a umbrella or something, maybe some waterproof shoes or something like that. Because yes, we have now got the confirmed or some more. I don't know if it's the total. They always do bring in a few last minute names to the start list, but it's a pretty decent start list, mate. And the big one for me, or which name, because we've got some men and some women, which name on that new start list gets you the most excited?
I mean, for me, as I said last week, Laura Philipp, confirming that she's going to race Challenge Roth. If you're going to have Kat Matthews going to do that race, and as we said last week, to go and, in my opinion, probably get a sub-8, I think, if things fall well for her, then you want Laura Philipp there as well, because you want it to be an absolute race. And it would be astounding to see those two going toe to toe as fast as they possibly can in Roth and push each other to a time that puts it on the shelf for some time.
I fully agree. Laura Philipp to me is the name that I got the most excited about for the exact reason. Like I'm honestly at the point now where I think I've said in the past, any race I want to see Kristian Blummenfelt, any race I want to see Lionel Sanders on the start list. Any pro female race, I don't just want to see Kat or Laura on a start list. I want to see the 2 of them together, because those 2 together make some of the most exciting races we've seen have been because of Hamburg race last year, the 238 to 240 marathon was absolutely exceptional, and I'm so confident that we're going to see the women break the 8-hour mark in Roth this year. I think it's going to, and I actually think it could be well under 8 hours, to be honest. I don't think it's going to be like 7:59. I think we could be seeing like a significant chunk of time taken under that 8-hour mark.
Yeah, I agree. And like I just said, you're all racing. If Kat did it, not solo, because there will be a full pro female field there, but if she did it and she was off the front on her own, yes, she could get an exceptional time because she's a very resilient racer and she's got that mindset. But having someone on your heels, you're always going to get a little bit more out of yourself. And that's not to say that Kat's nailed on for the win, because Laura Philipp is just as capable of taking the victory and getting a bit more out of herself because she's got Kat Matthews charging down behind her. So, both these things could happen, and we could see one of the most exciting women's races ever in Roth, I think, with these 2 lining up and shoulder to shoulder.
I love that Roth seems to have just decided that we are the world record race. And I actually I'm all for this. Like, what if we just as a sport go, you know what? The Roth record is, this like official Ironman versus unofficial Ironman versus iron distance, fuck all that. Let's just say Ironman or Challenge Roth is the iron distance. That's the course where we set the record. That way there's this talk about different courses, blah, blah, blah. Roth. The Roth time is considered the world record. I think it would be a good sort of thing to do. And yeah, the women's race, brilliant addition to Laura Philipp. There's some really great women in that start list. The men's additions, though, like when we spoke last week, we were talking a lot about not just names we'd like to see, but ways or athletes that we think. Because for me, the men's racing Roth is all about Kristian Blummenfelt. Sorry, boys. But about the athletes that could complement Kristian's performance. And I think they've done an exceptional job, because if you look at the names, Patrick Lange, Sam Laidlow, Jonas Schomburg, they are athletes. I think their skill set is going to, not necessarily, I don't mean complement, but it will set up a race that I think is going to increase the time, or decrease the time, I should say, that Kristian is going to finish that race in, because you're going to have Jonas, Sam, and that swimming real fast with Kristian around there. Those boys are going to absolutely pump the bike. Kristian just has to stick with them. And then you have this Patrick Lange from behind. If he can stay within enough distance, Kristian gets off that bike, he's going to have Jonas and Sam with him for part of that run. I think Jonas probably longer than Sam. And then suddenly going to have Patrick Lange come from behind. So it's just going to be, in my head, how I'm visualising it, this perfect situation, this perfect triathlon story. But Kristian doesn't have to necessarily lead at any point until probably 20K into the run, and then he's just going to go, toodaloo, motherfuckers, go off and run a 220-something marathon. And we're going to see, I think, the fastest Ironman, even faster than his Cosmo time. I think we're going to see something like, sub 720 would be so cool. But I think that's what I mean. Those athletes, that structure, it really suits, almost pacing Kristian along for that record attempt, I think.
Yeah, totally. You've got the two defending champions of Roth against the two Ironman Pro Series champions, with Kristian Blummenfelt and Kat Matthews coming in. So, we're gonna have fireworks, and it's gonna be exceptional. And I hope that having these names racing each other brings that audience to the race. So you've got people, I mean, I know that it's crammed by the side of the road when you're there, but we want to have people watching that broadcast and really be invested in it, because it's races like that help grow the sport. It's excitement. It's toe-to-toe racing, and some of the best in the world going up against each other.
The missing element, the one name that isn't on that star list that I was really hoping would, is Magnus Ditlev. We see Magnus break the world record there 2 years in a row. Had a lot of success at Roth. Didn't go last year. Didn't have the greatest season last year. Isn't apparently doing it again this year. I'm assuming, again, I don't know. I don't have any insight into Magnus's race plans, but it's because he's all in on Kona. But I sometimes find that athletes, when they do have a bump, Magnus had a bump last year, I believe, they tend to go back to the basics or what worked well for them in the past. And we saw those 2 previous years where Magnus raced Roth, broke the world record, went to world champs. I think he's podiumed. I'm kind of, I guess maybe was thinking he'd go, okay, well, this worked for me this year. Last year didn't really work for me. I don't know. I guess I'm just surprised, because it's a race that's done, been so good to him. He's been so good to it. With those other athletes, I thought he'd be absolutely chomping at the bit to be there for it.
Yeah, it is a shame, because he, you're right. He did have a bit of a strange year last year. I think going back to a routine he knows well might have suited him. But I mean, we only know what he's going through and what his plans are. He only knows what he's going through and what his plans are. We don't. We're looking externally. So quite how his race calendar is going to play out, we're yet to know. But I think if there's anyone out there I back to pull themselves together and come out from a year like that, I think Magnus can do it. He's got a really calm way of viewing the world. I don't see him panicking, and I don't see him changing anything too dramatically. I think he can get his head around wherever he's at and come back stronger.
You see, we talked about a little bit about this on the bonus episode yesterday, but I will say that one of the concerns I do have about Magnus a little bit is just that I feel like maybe and it's sort of similar to what we saw with an athlete like Lionel Sanders. I've said it about Lucy Charles in the past and been very wrong about Lucy, so fucking take what I say with a grain of salt. But I can't help but wonder if Magnus's opportunity has passed him by a little bit, only because I feel like that the new athletes, the Caspers, Kristian and Gustav now fully focusing on Ironman, some of the other guys that are coming through, they have an answer, because I've always said that I think Magnus races best when he's able to execute his own race. And you suddenly have more and more of these people that are front pack swimmers. They're not as strong on the bike as him, but they're not, the deficit isn't so big that they can't overcome it on the run, because they are better runners than him. And I can't help but wonder if maybe that opportunity has passed him by a little bit. Like that's why we sort of saw last year is, you see these athletes who are trying to overcome what is obviously a deficit that they have, and they either push too hard to try to do it, or they come up short because there's just better athletes out there. I don't know, and I certainly hope he doesn't. Don't listen to what I'm saying, Magnus. Go, fucking Tim said it on the podcast, I better give it up. But I do wonder if, because of, so a big thing we spoke about on the bonus yesterday was this idea that these athletes that don't have that short course background, or the federation, lifetime athletes, can still be successful. And I think Magnus is probably an interesting test case for that, because he didn't go through Daniel Beckergaard was a short course athlete, was trying to go to the Olympics, ended up going Ironman. Magnus wasn't. Magnus has stepped straight into long distance, and Ironman very, very young. I do wonder if we'll see him be as competitive with those guys just because of how the races. Maybe that's why. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I guess I'm just curious to see what happens with his race season this year.
We will see. I haven't heard much from him, really.
I know
he went on a training camp for a while, because we conversed a little bit regarding him signing that tri-suit I've got for the raffle. But I don't know a huge amount about his race calendar yet.
It just does show, though, that the way that triathlon is very, the memories are quite short, right? Because I do feel like a lot of people have stopped talking about him, and you have one bad season, and he's still won Ironman South Africa, and then suddenly everybody's just moved on. I guess we'll see. Again, Magnus, if you ever do listen, get to Roth, mate. Everybody we want to see you there. We want to see you absolutely rip the legs off. I do also love Sam Laidlow's video where he comes down, he's like, I'm coming for you, Kristian. I'm coming for you, mate.
Yeah, I love that. but that's a really cool dynamic, Kristian and Sam racing each other. But if Magnus was there, that would add a different dimension to that kind of race, because he's got that ability to bike up through the field. And it would be really interesting to see. It's not over yet. He could still go.
I still think we're going to see more addition. I mean, having worked to get athletes there quite late in the piece, I know that Roth, they will continue to sign athletes. I actually think if you're a pro athlete out there, a pro Ironman athlete, even you see that, you'd want to be part of that race. That is a race you want to be part of, because I do feel like this is going to be an event that a lot of people talk about for a while. So I think we will probably see a few more. Probably, we were talking some of the older pros. I think we're probably maybe going to. I mean, Lionel Sanders. Get Lionel Sanders to Roth this year. That would be the cherry on top. You get him on that race, he's going to come out with a swim deficit. You get him, Sam Long, get Joe Skipper there, get some of those boys together, those shit swimmers. Have that group who can absolutely ride like demons come. And then you've got that narrative right of the chase, and that could actually maybe benefit Patrick Lange a bit if they catch up to Patrick. Maybe pull him a bit towards the front, set up that run battle. That could be really, really cool. And it could almost be like what we saw in Kona when, what was that? That was 2 years ago, where we saw Laidlow have that blow up and then Lange go on to win the thing. We could have something similar to that in Roth. Oh man, it could be so cool. That could be really, really cool. So come on, Lionel.
We'll see. We'll see.
We will see.
What's next? Talking about. Are we going to do Gold Coast now?
You tell me. You mate. You lead this. I'll just write the notes down.
I was going to say. Well, you mentioned Lionel Sanders, the patron of the podcast, patron saint of the podcast, and he's come out and he said that he's mapped out his future. He said he's all in on Kona for 2020. Jimbo. We can't talk about an article we talked about 3 weeks ago. We can't repeat ourselves, mate. We can't. Am I redoing myself?
No, I'm making a joke about how Lionel seems to come out and say the same thing all the time.
Oh yeah, no, I get that, but he's now formalized it.
Okay.
He'd made a suggestion that when the time comes to hang up his competitor's tri-suit, he was going to be moving into coaching. But when he said, when I can't compete for the win and when I don't believe I can be competitive anymore, then I would probably do a couple of years where I transition to something else and probably still do this. The logical thing would be coaching. I think I'd only really get a lot of fulfillment and satisfaction from coaching and working with people to try and help them to get the most out of themselves. He talked about the drafting thing. We've already done that. But then he said, Kona would be my goal for the year, my focus. I went there 13 months prior and did a baseline camp. I've got that data point and we'll go back in May for a mid-year camp. I'm going to make it my Olympics and I will not do anything to jeopardize that day and going for the win. I'm the most excited I've probably been in a decade.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Now, when one of the patrons posted a link to this in the Patreon group, and I read, I'm going to make it my Olympics. That was the headline. My brain read that as I'm going to make it to the Olympics. And I thought, fucking hell. Lionel says he's going to make it to the Olympics. And a part of me was like, of course he said that. This is going to be really entertaining to watch him try and do this. But no, that was just my brain. Fucking up the sentence.
I have for many years spoken with Canadian Olympian Tyler Mislachuk about getting Tyler and Lionel together to do some content, some like long course athlete does short course training or short course athlete does long course training or do it, something like that. I would fucking love to see Lionel, like genuinely and unironically love to see him be successful at going to try to attempt the Olympics. Like I'd fucking, I still remember when Chris did it in.
Remember when he did the super try?
Yeah,
I mean,
he was good.
Play to him. He's the E1.
Yeah, he was fucking great, right? He dominated.
Yeah,
he did a lot better
banging,
than. Yeah, mate. I do joke though because it's like, Lionel, mate, we don't need you to keep coming out and saying how important Kona is to you. I get it. I fully am fully aware of how much Kona matters. Like I get it. It's crazy to think it's nearly 10 years since that race against Patrick Lange, though. Like 2017 is 9 years ago. That is diabolical to me. I realize how old I'm getting. It's like every time he says it, it's like, how's this a new article? And that's kind of the joke I was making, right? You're like, you panic on fucking hell. We talked about this before. It's like, no. He's just saying the same thing that he said a few weeks ago again.
Hang on, that's just sinking in. I hadn't ever considered that it's almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, man.
I am getting old, man.
So are they. So is Patrick Lange. And it makes the fact that, Lange, we're still so excited about seeing him in Roth and the fact that it's super impressive, right? But Lionel, mate, I don't know if the coaching is necessarily... Weirdly, do you know what? I got served an ad on Facebook this week. I'm still a dinosaur who goes on Facebook sometimes. And I got an ad which was for using ChatGPT to coach me. Like it was an actual thing being like, training for an event, let ChatGPT write your program for you. And I was like, that's weird. But yeah, wouldn't that be just what you sort of get with Lionel? Because he uses ChatGPT to write his programs. So skip the middleman, just go straight to the source. Lionel, good on you, mate. Hope the sleep's working. Sleep 8 needs to get on there. Give him a sponsorship because sleep is going to be the next thing that he unlocks, and I look forward to that. That's Lionel's Corner done for another episode.
That is Lionel Corner done for another episode. What should we talk about now?
I think we should talk about the full start list for the Gold Coast T100 event because they have announced all of the wildcards. So we know the 20 athletes that will be lining up on the Gold Coast for the opening T100 of the season. I've got it here, mate, if you'd like me to go through it. I've got it. Thanks to, of course, the legends, a tripole athlete for doing the Lord's work so that we don't have to. The full start list of women's only T100 Gold Coast event is Kate Waugh, Julie Derrin, Ashley Gentle, Ellie Salthouse, Taylor Nibb, Lucy Byram, Holly Lawrence, Sarah Perez-Sala, Hannah DeVette, Marlene de Boer, Alanis Siffert, Daniela Kleiser, Lottie Wilms, Natalie Van Koeverden, Jess Fullagar, Katrine Grisbold Christensen, Imogen Simmons, Danielle Di Francesco, Megan McDonald, and Nicole Vanderkay. Now, when we first talked about the first 16 athletes or 15 athletes announced, I wasn't that excited. It was like, yeah, it's cool. It's a similar T100 start list to what we've seen in the past. Have the addition of these wild cards changed your levels of excitement, mate?
I mean, there's a few names on there. I'm intrigued to see how they go. Like Imogen Simmons, really pleased to see her back racing. Really intrigued to see how she goes. Daniela Di Francesco is someone I know from my days with Super League, as they were back in the day. Lovely human being. Went off to be a pro bike racer for a while. So it'd be really exciting to see how that, because she was fast at Super League, then she went off to do this biking stuff, see how that translates into a performance here, because I'd love to see her go well. She's great. Yeah, I think. Look, it's a rounded field. I will be very surprised. I would wear. I mean, Ash Gentle won't be on the start list, will she?
How come?
But hey,
why not?
Well, she's just announced that she's having a baby.
Yeah, but you can still. That's in 9 months, mate. It's not next week.
No, I know. But she won't be racing.
I don't know. Actually, I don't know if she's come out and said that. To be honest,
her social media post said, "I'm sorry to not be making the Gold Coast."
Okay, I didn't see it, so scratch her.
So I will. If Kate Woff doesn't win this race, I will wear a wig for the rest of the year on the podcast.
Well, I think you might have to get that wig out, mate, because I asked you if your levels of excitement for this race changed, and that's because mine really did. And my levels of excitement changed because of one name in particular, and that is Jess Fullagar.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have been following Jess's career very closely since 2 years ago. Super Tri, it was Jess Fullagar. It might have been Jess Fullagar and Olivia Matthias, I think, who were doing all the Super Tri races, and those two would go off the front of every single race, and eventually they'd get pulled back, but they went absolutely crazy. And then at the grand final last year, Jess stayed with that lead group on the run. Her run was always a bit of a weakness. And then we saw her go to a non-draft race in Noose last year. She fucking dominated, mate. Dominated. I've spoken a lot, I think, about those athletes that are short course athletes pretending, like the long course athletes pretending to be short course athletes. That to me is Jess Fullagar. I think that Jess Fullagar, exceptionally talented. I know she's going to try to go to LA and probably Brisbane, but I think she's going to surprise a lot of people this race. I think she could, a huge call, right? On debut, you're going to beat everybody. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw her do it. Yeah, Jess Fullagar is absolutely one to watch. But I don't think Kate Wall winning this is as sure a thing as you suggest. I wouldn't be surprised again if she won. But again, I don't really know what the plan is for an athlete like Kate, because went to Paris, LA's coming up, the Olympic qualifications start mid-year, went to the Olympics, didn't have a great race, but has gone to T100 and is suddenly making bank and finds all the success. You'd have to go, well, what am I doing it for? Am I doing it for this, or am I doing it? I don't know. So I guess we'll see where her focus is this year. But I know Jess is definitely just doing this. The English team, the Great British Triathlon Squad, on the Gold Coast trainer at the moment. For some reason, your taxpayer dollars made us send in triathletes down under to train, which is nice. But yeah, that's one of many. I think the addition of a Nicole van der Kaay as well, another short course athlete we've seen doing some middle distance races. She won the Tauranga half earlier this year. I love it. I always really do enjoy to see the short course athletes being added to a list, and that's what gets me excited. So yeah.
It'd be nice. It's good that Ellie's there. It's good that she's having a full season this year. Obviously with last year's season being a bit of a stuttery start with her surgery she had to have. I'm always interested to see Taylor Knibb on a start list, what she can bring to the party here. It's good that we've got a full-ish looking list of athletes, even on the first race, which is a flyaway race down to Australia. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that start list. I haven't quite got used to it being a women-only race, because a second ago I was trying to swipe on Tripole Athletes post to move to the men's start list, so I'd be ready for that. So my brain hasn't, even though I know, my brain hasn't caught up yet that it's a women's only race. And I don't know how that feels, but we'll see how it feels on the day.
I also like Natalie Van Koeverden. Nat's another Australian Olympian, short course athlete who last year made the transition to middle distance with a great level of success. But I think, again, that probably the run has always been a bit of Nat's weakness. But we saw her last year, the last race of last year, being in Bahrain 70.3, where she finished second to Georgia Taylor-Brown, but didn't run that much slower. So the run really is improving a lot. And I follow Nat on Strava. I see her train. She's training the house down. She's been doing a whole bunch of aero testing down in Melbourne recently, ahead of F1 maybe. But that's another name that there's enough short course athletes on this to get me excited. And while we were talking, and I just thought while you were speaking then, I spoke mostly about how Magnus sort of had that bump last year, and it feels like a bit of the hype isn't the right word, but I guess the talk around Magnus has died off in the last 6 months. It kind of feels a little bit the same with Taylor Knibb. And, obviously she was in pole position to win Kona last year until she had to DNF, a couple of K from the finish. But if I look back a couple of years ago, everybody was talking about Taylor Knibb is the fucking greatest thing since, this is the greatest thing to happen to women's triathlon. I know Macca still thinks she is going to absolutely win everything. But do you feel a little bit like that aura of invincibility has worn off with Taylor? Like the fact that we're looking at the starters going, Kate will probably win it. You're saying if Kate wins.
Yeah, I really do. But I'm ready to be proved wrong. I mean, 2023, she won 70.3 Boulder. She won the PTO US Open. She won the 70.3 World Championship, 4th in Hawaii. 2024, first place. She had 6 first places. 70.3 World Championship, Dubai T100, Lake Las Vegas T100, Ibiza T100, San Francisco T100, and 70.3 Oceanside. There was a second place in a couple of obviously the Olympics, she came 19th, and then a WTCS race, she came 11th. But other than those two non-long course races, she won every single long course race she had in 2024. 2025, she won Vancouver T100, and then she was second, and third across every other long course race, and she didn't win the World Championship, 70.3 World Championships, which she'd done 2 years in a row. So yes, I feel like, but we've also got to bear in mind we've got a short memory. The sport's got a short memory.
Yeah.
Someone with a Palmares of her quality, if she can have an off year, which makes everybody go, she's out my mind now. And she won Vancouver T100. She came second in San Francisco, second in Ironman Texas, second at the 70.3 World Championships, third at T100 London, and then had that famous DNF in Ironman Hawaii. If she can have a year like that, many people, if they had a year like that, we'd be like, fucking hell, they're on the up.
Yeah, exactly.
She has a year like that, and everybody goes, that invincibility thing is worn off, and I'm not even considering anymore. And there go I as well. So it would be ridiculous to not say, well, she could have a blinder this year. She could win every race she enters. She has the skills. She has the ability. So yeah, no, she's there. And obviously I might very well be wearing a wig for the rest of the podcast episodes for the year.
I'll hold you to it too. Or I'll get Ace to edit in a wig. Again, while you're talking, it made me think of another example of this though. And I'm now just going off on a tangent. Martin Van Riel. Similar sort of thing, right? We saw him start to do his middle distance debut and everything, and everyone was talking about how he's undefeated at middle distance. Yellow Gaines beats him at the Las Vegas one, and then goes on to beat him. So I don't think he raced it, but anyway, that's another example of an athlete where he has gone from being like, fucking hell, this is the next big thing, to Martin's there. Martin's got a chance. Like it's just crazy to me the incredible standard that we seem to hold these athletes to, and how quickly that whatever it is. And again, it's funny how it doesn't apply to everybody. Like, and I'm just mostly talking probably about my own perceptions now, but like Kristian Blummenfelt certainly doesn't win everything he does, but in my mind, he's still got that Kristian's probably going to win the race. Jan Frodeno didn't win everything he did. Always was like, he's probably going to win this thing.
Bring up Martin Van Riel. I got picked up last week. I got a text message from somebody after we'd recorded the episode saying you forgot to mention Martin Van Riel for Roth. And I was like, fuck, yeah, we did.
Is he on Roth? Is he racing Roth?
Yeah.
Is he on the start list?
Apparently so.
Wait, really?
Apparently so. I got a message saying that we, and then I went on a bit of a cheese cracker binge because I felt so sad that we hadn't mentioned him.
Well, if he's racing, he hasn't been announced.
Checking.
I can't see him on. Fucking hell! See what I mean? That would be exciting. He's right though. Why didn't we talk about? We didn't talk about Martin. But you spoke about Yellow Gaines, but we didn't talk about Martin Van Riel. See what I mean?
We did not.
And that's on us, right?
Yeah. It's almost like we completely forgot he existed last week. Because I was thinking who I wanted to see there and who I wanted to add to the dynamic, and it proves what you're just saying, which is that we've got a short memory. The sport's got a short memory because Martin Van Riel has got an incredible palmares.
I'm messaging Belinda Granger right now.
Taylor Knibb has got a tremendous palmares. And she could come into this year and absolutely cream everybody. And we'd be going, oh, yeah, it's Taylor Knibb, isn't it?
Yeah.
But now,
yeah,
I'm just like, maybe the era of Taylor Knibb coming in and winning anything might have passed.
But then to sort of take that same thing and flip it, Kat Matthews is an athlete who's probably got, plenty of wins, but lots of high-profile second places. But she almost seems to be the opposite, where she has that aura where people go, well, Kat Matthews on this, she's going to fucking dominate things. It is very interesting, right? The way, I don't know what it is, but I find it fascinating. You know what else is fascinating, James?
No.
That you can get even faster without training harder if you go and talk to our friends at Hoob.
This is very true. Now, this is the last time we're going to mention this deal because this is they're coming to the end of this particular offer. But where is it? They've put together what they think is the fastest wetsuit in the world, tested using their own active drag measurement system. The same technology behind back-to-back 70.3 World Championship wins with Yellow Gaines, the aforementioned Yellow Gaines. And they're pairing that with the Sub-7 tri-suit. And that is the same suit used during the Sub-7 Championship performances. And they're creating a premium bundle worth £2,200. But right now, that full package is available for just £999. And then if you stick the Talking Triathlon 10 code on top of that, you get an extra 10% off. Hoob are focused on every athlete who's worked hard all winter, arriving on the start line knowing they're wearing the fastest kit possible. It's a limited run. They're only making 100 bundles of this particular wetsuit and tri-suit combination, and each bundle is individually numbered. And once they're gone, they're gone. Like I said, you've got the code TalkingTriathlon10 with a capital T for an additional 10% off. That's a wetsuit worth £800 and a tri-suit worth £1,300. Elite level performance at an incredible price of just £999. If you're chasing speed, it has to be Hoob.
So with the code, it's £900. It's which is what, 1,800 Australian dollars. Mate, you pay that much for a wetsuit. You pay that much for a wetsuit anyway.
That's what I would expect to pay for a wetsuit. If I was going to market to buy a wetsuit, I'd probably budget about £900 for aforementioned wetsuit.
Well, look, all I'll say to the listeners is if you were thinking about getting Lionel Sanders to coach you, save the money, put it towards this Hoob deal, get ChatGPT to do the training for you, get ChatGPT to write your program for you, spend your money on this Hoob deal, and you'll probably go very, very fast. I genuinely think this is a crazy deal. Like £900 for that much is very. If I was still doing triathlon, I would be pulling the trigger on this. I have actually just ordered. I've used the code myself. I've got some Hoob goodies coming very, very soon. I got some new swim shorts and stuff like that. So nice little way to save a little bit of cash and also show Hoob that sponsoring the podcast is worth their while. Jimbo.
Oh, absolutely. On we go, mate. Now, what are we going to talk about now?
I think it's the big race this weekend. There's a big race happening.
Isn't it?
Can you believe?
Big race.
Can you believe that we're back to the Ironman Pro Series? The Ironman Pro Series kicks off again.
Mate. And I'm up for it because I need some sport to watch. And also because the podcast is going to be a lot easier when we finally got some pro racing actually happening and we got an indication of where people's form is at. We can talk about athletes with a little bit more context and grounded in reality as to where they are. And the only way you get that is when the racing is on. And finally, Ironman New Zealand is here, and it's happening this weekend. It's happening on the Saturday, March the 7th. Professional men will start first with the gun going off at 7:45 local time. So that's 7:15 in the evening in the UK and 7:45 in Central Europe. Fuck what time it is in America. The women's race will commence 5 minutes later at
1945.
Yeah, it's 10-7 in the UK and 10-8 in Central Europe. And yes, that is at 10:50 on the West Coast.
Now, James, before we get to the actual start list and the machinations of what's going to happen with the athletes, there is something about the broadcast that I am very excited about.
As am I. And it's something that we've known for a while and haven't really been able to talk about.
And that is that Will McCloy will be joining the Ironman commentary of this team and will be and will be commentating this race for the Ironman Pro Series. And honestly, this is one of the best things that, I mean, look, there's other things that are going to be announced this year around broadcasts of races that we also know about that we can't say yet. It's not our place to say. But this is the first of a lot of good things happening in triathlon broadcasting this year. And I am like, it is just so refreshing knowing we're going to finally be able to talk about a race after it's happened, and hopefully not be having to say how terrible the quality of the commentary and things were. I think we'll do it.
At least this is terrible. We've got a direct line. We can actually WhatsApp Will.
I'll be WhatsApping him during the race going, lift your fucking game, mate. Bale would do a better job than you.
Come on,
yeah, come on, McCloy, what are you doing? No, this is such a positive step, I think, for triathlon. And one of the things we speak a lot about, like probably too much on this show, is around the broadcastability of pro triathlon. And there's been a lot of things that have happened this year in particular that seem like a backward step away from it. Whereas this, to me, seems like a huge positive step forward. And it's I'm going to go again, bit of a tangent thing here. I can't help but feel like this is kind of partially a reaction to the PTO. Like, we talk a lot about the good and the bad of the PTO, and I think this is, we saw the Pro Series as a whole kick off because of the response to the PTO. And I feel like Will now getting involved with the Ironman Pro Series broadcast is also because they've realised that they need to elevate what they're doing because of what the PTO... Look, the PTO certainly isn't perfect, but their commentary team has done an exceptional job last year, I think, in particular. Having Jan, Vicky, others there, I think is making them realise that having people that are just sort of talking about cadence and heart rate and getting names wrong and not understand what's happening in the race and saying Didi 76,000 times in a broadcast and Sylvie, Solvay, Signy, whatever, like they're getting a pro commentator in now, and it is such, it's honestly what it deserves. It's going to be great to hear an actual broadcast giving the race and the athletes in it the respect I think they deserve, because I feel like a lot of the people that have done the commentary for Ironman have just rocked up, been like, fuck it, who's on it? Who cares? Let's do it live. Like, let's just go. I know how much prep Will does for this. He's been messaging me already about questions about some of the athletes. He is not going to come into this not knowing. He is going to be on, and it's going to be such a breath of fresh air, because it's the one thing that I really feel like has been missing. I actually feel like the Ironman company has done quite a good job in terms of showing the action, and the racing has certainly been there. And it's just been this one thing that has let it down consistently. So people can probably hear, I'm very, very, very excited and grateful for the fact that they have made this change. I think it is such a positive step.
I agree wholeheartedly. We'll still have all the adverts to contend with. But when there isn't an advert on, the standard of the quality will have improved somewhat. And yeah, I think Will brings that real sense of
professionalism,
authenticity to it.
Yeah.
A real authentic commentary experience, and I'm here for it.
Well, let's turn our attention now to the actual racing, because we've spoken a little bit about the star list. I think we've already probably suggested who we think is going to win these races, but maybe we haven't. Maybe things have changed a little bit, because I've certainly been talking to a few athletes, and they have some different opinions to what I have. But let's go through this. We'll start with the women's race. The women's start list. We have defending champ Regan Hollyoak, Kat Matthews, Hannah Berry. I think this is the first time Hannah's raced in Ironman New Zealand, actually. Jocelyn McCauley, Lottie Wilms, Maya Stage-Nielsen, Danielle Lewis, Nina Darren, Rebecca Clark, Steph Clutterbuck, Tamara Jewett, Fenella Langridge. Any other athletes there that I recognise? Nope, they're the main ones. There's plenty of other women, but I could be here for 45 minutes reading them all. What do you reckon, mate? How do you see this race unfolding? Who are the names to watch? We know Kat Matthews. We said before, everyone's going to say Kat's going to win this thing by 20 minutes. She might not have such an easy day. What do you think?
No, Kat Matthews is going to smash everybody.
Yeah, I think you're probably
absolute domination. She's going to, she's going to destroy that field.
I don't know. Hannah Berry was what, 5th in Kona last year, 4th in Kona last year.
Yeah.
Home race?
I think Kat Matthews will take it fairly easily. It's good to see Fenella Langridge on the start line. I'd like to see that she's cleared her health issues and is racing again. Steph Clutterbuck also another athlete I'm pleased to see racing. Yeah, I mean, there's no one there I think is going to be able to challenge Kat.
I feel like what we're going to see, though, is there's some real swim power in this race. So there's definitely going to be a lead group that Kat's going to come out with a gap, because Rebecca Clark, Fenella Langridge, Lotta Wilms, for example, just to name a few, Rebecca Clark's one of the best swimmers in the sport. So I definitely think there's going to be a gap, and that will probably delay Kat's ability to get to the front of the race, just because you're going to have this group working together. I don't think that'll stop it. But then you've got athletes, we saw Tamara Jewett come good in Wanaka, so she's clearly on an uptick. If she can stay in touch on the bike and be, she's the athlete. I mean, she's shocker. She's the only athlete I can see probably outrunning Kat Matthews. I just don't think she's going to have enough. I think the gap's probably going to end up being too big unless she can get some people to work around her. And then we have this new 20-minute draft rule, which I think is going to mean that the ability for the athletes to actually really work together is definitely minimised. Hannah Berry, Ironman New Zealand debut. I think the highest ever, or one of the highest finishes of a female from New Zealand in the World Champs in a while. There's a lot of hype around Hannah in New Zealand, which is well deserved. And I know that, I think what people underestimate with this race is this is such a well-supported event in terms of the waterside road. I can't remember what the name of it is, where a lot of the run happens. There's fucking people everywhere, mate. This is a brilliant event. This is a truly brilliant Ironman race. And I do wonder if that home support is really going to elevate Hannah, because you can't discount it. This is all just a really long way of me basically saying something could happen, but I think Kat Matthews is probably going to win the thing. I think, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I think Kat Matthews is gonna destroy the field of that one.
I don't know if destroy. It's pretty early in the year, and do you need to destroy, or if you've got the year and you're trying to focus on Kona, is it worth going that hard?
I don't mean she's going to be she's not going to be racing at her absolute on the rivet, putting everybody to bed. I just think she's going to cruise it. And if she needs to speed up, she will. And I just mean it's going to be a very comfortable win.
What's your podium picks? Who's your top three?
Kat Matthews for the win, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I am thinking.
He's pensive.
I'm going to put Fenella Langridge in second.
Okay.
And then Tamara Jewett in third.
Interesting. I'm going to go Kat Matthews 1, Hannah Berry 2, Lotta Wilms 3.
Fair enough.
Regan Hollyoak though. Maybe Regan Hollyoak third. I'll go Regan third. Okay, cool. Let's see. Anything can happen. No weak bets on the line for this race. That's exclusively T100 Gold Coast so far. The men's field, mate. Let's turn to the men's race now because this is a pretty bloody good men's race. We have got defending champion Mike Phillips, Norwegian superstar Kristian Blummenfelt, Rasmus Svenningsen, Trevor Foley, Henrik Grosch, Matt Hansen, Jack Moody, Ben Hamilton, Kyle Smith, Pierre Lecour, Frederick Funk, Mitch Kibbe, Sam Osborne. Any other names that I know? Matt Kerr, Calvin Amos. Yeah. Mate, it's a pretty decent start.
It's good, isn't it? Mike Phillips, Kristian Blummenfelt, Rasmus Svenningsen, Jack Moody, Matt Hansen, Ben Hamilton, Kyle Smith, Pierre Lecour, Frederick Funk. I mean, those are all names that on their day could win this race.
I guess instead of just going straight, who do you think is going to win? Because I think we both know the answer. How do you see the race unfolding? Like looking at those names, what's the dynamic? How's it going to? Is Kristian going to get out with a gap? Is he going to be in the front all day? Are we going to see him sit back and let people dictate things around him? Is he going to save it all for the run and drop a super fast run? Is he going to be able to with athletes like Pierre Lecour and Matt Hansen there? Like, how do you see the race unfolding? Because you assume other athletes are going to have to try to take it to Kristian, knowing his arsenal.
Yeah. I think he comes off the bike with a lead and then runs a fairly comfortable run that allows him to win this race. I don't think he wants to leave it to the run where he's having to take on some of those other athletes that have also got strong runs, I think. And also it's the first race of the season. He doesn't want it to be a fucking 70.3 Marbella finish. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
I think he's gonna use some firepower on the bike to try and put a gap to those athletes that might be an issue on the run. What do you think?
It's actually really, when you look at similar to what we were talking about with Roth, right? When you look at the way these athletes, like I look at them and there's some very good athletes, but there's not like the Sam Laidlow or the Vincent Louis. There's not that superfish swimmer. There's
No, I was just thinking that. There's no one there who's like, oh, this is definitely front pack swim type.
Pierre Lecour, probably.
I was going to say Pierre Lecour is probably the only one.
Kyle Smith, I can't remember how Kyle swim is off the top of my head. I think that we're probably going to see, again, I assume the athletes like Mike Phillips, I mean Rasmus in particular, Ben Hamilton, Frederick Funk, Kyle Smith, these guys are going to, I reckon, be absolutely drilling the fucking bike. Like, giving it everything, trying to get a bit of a gap on Kristian. And when you actually sit down and look at the start list, because in my head what's going to happen is, as you say, Kristian, you say he's going to get off with a lead. I think he's going to get off with the pack and run faster than him. But the point you make, which is excellent, is that there's enough names in that group that if they can stay with him, he ain't going to have such an easy time in that marathon. Because
no, exactly.
Jack Moody, very good runner. Pierre Lecour, like, again, I talked about it with the Gold Coast. You add him to this start list. I think this might be his first Ironman, to be honest. I'm not sure. I'm excited about that because Pierre Lecour, as I've said a few times, the fastest 70.3 debut in history is Pierre Lecour. The guy can run. So, but I mean, the name that we haven't barely spoke about, and I was talking with Joe about him this week, is Trevor Foley. Because Trevor Foley, I do feel like 2 years ago in Kona, he crashed his bike just before transition, and he's been almost MIA since then. But if you think back to that Ironman Lake Placid run where he ran, what did he run, 2:37 or something on what is a very, very hard course. Trevor Foley is an exceptional bike runner. Like his swim is shithouse. Like it's actually, it's not good. But his bike and run are truly, truly great. And you have him, Matt Hansen, these guys. I think that, Kristian not that Kristian will ever sit back and chill. Like Kristian Blummenfelt is the opposite of a Magnus Ditlev, where he doesn't just go through the motions, do his thing. Kristian will find, like, if Kristian is running along with the lead and a dog starts running along next to him on the course, Kristian will decide that he has to run faster than the dog. Like, this is how Kristian Blummenfelt is made. And I do feel, though, that there's enough run power in particular that could just make things tough for him. Mike Phillips is another guy that not many people have really spoken about, but like Mike has won this race several times, broke the course record last year by about 10 minutes, I should say. Looked so comfortable last year, got off the bike and just ran a very easy, not easy, but a very consistent 2:40 marathon to win the thing convincingly. He has made this race a huge priority for himself. Again, Kiwi, defending champion, course champion, he's going to have a point to prove as well. Mike is a very good swimmer, very good biker, very solid runner. I just think it's going to be, there's enough there to go, I expect Kristian to probably win this thing, if I'm completely honest. I just don't know how he'll go about it. Will we see what is a relatively straightforward, gets off the bike, just runs faster than everybody? Will we see him, as you say, try to get a gap? Maybe people will go with him. Will we see him get out of the swim with a bit of a deficit? And then, I don't know. I'm fascinated to see the way this race actually unfolds. So there's exciting stuff there.
Yeah, there really is. The dynamic of watching them come off the bike and seeing how hard they can push each other and how hard they can take it to Kristian, because he's obviously the one to watch, isn't he? You know, he's the name on the sheet that they're all going to be marking to a point. There is firepower on that bike that will be hammering along to try and get a gap, but Kristian's no slouch on the bike. And I mean, as much as I think he would love to have a gap going into T2, there's another version where he just marks their efforts on the bike, lets them waste themselves, and then just takes them on the run.
That's how I think he does it, right? Like, the problem athletes have against Kristian Blummenfelt. Now, Kristian is not the best swimmer in the sport. He is not the best biker in the sport. He's arguably the best runner in the sport, if not the one of the. But he is able. I don't think there's anybody he can't answer in any of those three. So if somebody's going really hard in the swim, he might not stick right with him, but the gap's not huge. If somebody attacks on the bike, I think he can probably go with him. So I don't like. It's one of those things. I don't know how you beat him really here, because I don't think anybody's going to be able to. Maybe Rasmus. Rasmus could probably ride away from him.
Rasmus's issue will be a deficit on the swim.
Yeah. So
he'll be coming from behind. And if he gets a chance to ride away, then yes, out of all of those bikers, Rasmus is the one that really could. If he's on form and having a good day and in the right place, then yes, he could ride away from them. But then he's got to have a fair gap on a marathon to hold off a charging Kristian Blummenfelt.
He won Arizona last year?
He won...
was it? Or it was one of the American races that Rasmus won.
Yeah, it was one. Yeah,
was it Arizona
for some reason,
or was it Chattanooga? Maybe. Anyway,
I can't remember. It was one of the two.
Look, I think the again, it's funny how we don't. Kyle Smith could fucking do really, really well here. Same thing. He's an actual
totally.
Taupo boy.
Great names on that list. There really are. You know, it's
a great start list.
And Kristian doesn't always have the best. Just because he's Kristian Blummenfelt and he's capable of amazing things doesn't mean he's not capable of having a day that he's not firing. We've seen him cramp in races. We've seen him battle those kind of physical responses to efforts. So you never know what's going to happen.
And they changed the course too. It's a different course this year to last year. I believe it's hillier. And the run course it's a lumpy run course. Like, this is not a flat pancake, or this is up and down. The good thing with this run course too is there's a lot, you'll see your competitors. Like, you've got long visibility. So I don't think anybody's going to be able to run out of sight of anybody. Okay, podium picks. Who are we going? Who's your top three? It's actually hard. It's actually really hard.
Yeah, it is hard. It is hard, but I will get it right. So I'm gonna surprisingly, I'm going to have Kristian Blummenfelt for the win.
Yep.
I'm going to put Mike Phillips in second.
Yep.
And then Rasmus Svenningsson in third, having biked his heart out, started the marathon with a lead and holding on for third place.
I'm going to go my top three. Man, it's full disclosure. I work with Mike, so I don't want people to think I'm being biased. I'd love to see Mike. You know, I was there last year when Mike won. It was absolutely brilliant. I think Kristian's probably going to win it. And then I'm going to put on my podium, I'm going to put Mike, and I'm going to put Pierre Lacour.
So far.
Pierre Lacour.
Oh, okay.
I can't explain. I just have this feeling about Pierre Lacour. Like I'm probably wrong. I was very wrong about some people last year, but I'd love to see Pierre Lecour.
What sort of feeling?
Like he's going to do really, really well. Not confused feelings, just a good gut feeling about his racing. Jimbo, mate, all that's left to do is watch the racing this weekend. It's good that we're going to have races to talk about again. Our job's about to get a lot easier as we move forward. As I said at the start, we recorded a bonus episode yesterday. I think it's a good time. If you guys want to hear it, you know where to go. Jimbo, if they want to find out more about Talking Triathlon, what do they need to do?
If you want to support the show, jump on at patreon.com/talking triathlon. If you want to follow Tim, he's at T414 on Instagram. I'm at bale.james85 on Instagram. We're also on Instagram as at Talking Triathlon. If you want to join the Patreon group, you'll get access to the monthly bonus episode, which we recorded yesterday and is now fresh out. But you'll also get access to all the historic bonus episodes. You can go back in time and listen to us talk about many different things.
25 of them, by the way. I checked yesterday.
25. But if you're not a member of the Patreon group and you want to interact or say hello or leave a comment or have a go at us, leave a comment on YouTube. That's where we're most likely to see it.
It is true. Jimbo, mate, it's a good time. It's a good time. I'd like to thank everybody who not only joined Patreon last month to go towards my marathon campaign, but also people who donated to my marathon campaign. Thank you very much. I'll try to work out how to send everybody thank you messages. If you haven't already, we are now going to, I'll add James's link as well because your raffle is about to go live, I believe, any day now.
Yeah, I'm going to launch it on the podcast next week.
Okay.
So as of next week, you can do it now and I'll still count it because I'm not that kind of person. But
no, if you do it now, it goes towards me.
Yeah, as of next week, if you put a donation on my just giving page of the amounts that I'll give you next week, then for various entries to the raffle will be going live. But don't do it yet because I will be telling you how much a certain amounts will get you various levels of entry to the raffle. So that'll happen next podcast.
And I'll say if you were thinking about doing it now, and he said no, do it to me instead. There you go. I don't have a raffle or anything yet. I'm not that what's the word? Proactive. But you can do it to me.
Mate, we got some banging prizes.
You do, actually.
I am envious of whoever wins the Lucy Charles-Barclay signed Metaspeed shoe.
Me? It's mine. You think I'm joking? That's my shoe.
Put your entries in then, bro.
I will, and I'm expecting like a friendly handshake or fuckery to make sure that prize goes to Tim Ford. Thank you very much.
Well, no, what I'll do with as an agreement with you, however much you put into the raffle for your entries, I'll match it in donations on your Just Giving page as well.
I love it. Deal. I'll do that for sure. I don't have any raffles yet. Maybe I have to lift my game.
Just don't put like $1,000 on there or anything, because right now I'm trying to buy a house.
How badly can I fuck him up? Guys, thank you so much for listening. Enjoy Ironman New Zealand this week. We'll see you on the live stream or on our YouTube comments. Jimbo, pleasure as always. Talk to you next week.
Cheerio.